up, leaguers? Welcome to the Spectacular Spoiler League. I'm the Pandan Superman, the mayor of Hype City, HazyRome, and as always, I'm joined by the Gotham Knight, the Prime Minister of Post-Production, DeepBoyce. And today, we're in the Hall of Spoilers to talk a little bit about Arrow and the problems we have with Olicity. Oliver, Felicity, it's been tough. It's tough, DeepBoyce. It's an issue. It's a problem that a lot of people have, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about that problem in this alternate reality check, because we're going to try and fix it. That's what the alternate reality check is all about. We, hit you with that realness, and we try to provide an alternative. That's what it's all about. So, I don't know. What is our problem, man? Let's see if we can put this into words, so as not to, be, some haters. But to just, kind of put out there the problems we have with the pairing.
It sucks.
I feel like you could do this better than me. And then he goes, I like how he says it sucks. I said, you could do this better than me. He's like, it sucks.
I mean, okay. It's treading water, I guess is probably the right way to put it.
Yes.
There's, in my opinion, there's really nothing interesting about this relationship or anything that's happened or could possibly happen that'll make us want to watch them be together, not be together. Are they? If
I concur.
They get together, are they not going to get together? Maybe they will. Maybe this is going to put a wedge between them. Is she in danger? He's got to save her because they love each other. I mean, they've kind of done every single permutation, and they haven't exactly given us enough good things to hang our hats on and care about this relationship existing or not existing. I think where it's at right now, where it's just we don't even really mention it, or it's not a plot point, at least not yet. I'm sure it'll come back up again. But I think it being just not even mentioned is the best thing that they could do for it. And Arrow's a number of seasons already in to its run, and they've exhausted every possible option that they could do with Felicity, good and bad, mostly bad. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's some fans of Oliver and Felicity together out there.
Oh, there are rabid Olicity fans, and you know what? I ain't gonna hate on you for shipping a relationship, but the fact of the matter is, the way they've done it hasn't been good. No, I mean, my bad. Continue. I just had to put that out.
No, I mean, I guess to run through it chronologically.
Sure.
Olicity was at its best up until she, I guess, gained control of the company, broke up with Ray Palmer. I mean, I think Hazy would probably agree. We would much more like to see Felicity with Ray Palmer than Felicity with Oliver, or just Felicity.
They actually make sense.
Yeah, it actually makes sense, and they're both like a good pairing. They both, I mean, they're similar characters, and I understand opposites attract and whatnot, but I kind of liked that they were both over talkative, just kind of nerds and geeks, and she ultimately ended up playing him for reasons that we still don't really know why. I mean, he realized, hey, you're not really that much into me, and she's like, yeah, you're right, you're into Oliver, and she's like, yeah, you're right, I don't know why. and we still haven't gotten a reason as to why she's so much into Oliver. Like, what exactly happened during all these seasons to merit her wanting to leave a perfectly fine relationship to just suddenly be...
They care about each other, man. That's all you need, right?
Yeah, but
they care about each other, man. They work side by side.
Diggle
man.
cares about Oliver way more than Felicity does. All right, Diggle was in the picture for way longer. I mean, it's.
I mean, come on, man. You can't quantify that, man.
But again, I ask how and why. I understand that they're great friends and they work together, and he saved her many times, and her with her know-how saved the team many times. But there isn't that chemistry there. I don't see what it is. I guess just that they spent time together. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, but they're just a super boring couple. I really don't see what it is. There's no incentive, and both characters, like we said, have had better relationships with other characters. Felicity with Ray, and Oliver with both Laurel sisters, right?
Both
Lance
sisters.
My bad.
Laura and
Sara. Personally, I would much rather see Oliver with Sara Lance. I thought that was the best relationship that he had working on that show.
Yes.
But again, it gets in the way. This is the problem with the relationship, ultimately. And I'm not just hating just to hate on it. But it gets in the way of the story. It gets in the way of the progress of whatever narrative is going on throughout the season. You know, either we have to insert that relationship being in danger or just some melodrama just because, or we have to insert either one of them being in danger and maybe dying, and then there has to be like a scene where one cries over the other. I mean, one of the weakest episodes of this last season, which was a great season, a great comeback season for Arrow, was the episode when they were basically locked into their hideout, and I guess a
lot of people love that episode. I know it's. I didn't think it was that good.
No, it was just not. In my opinion, it just wasn't good at all. But they were basically locked in there, and they were running out of oxygen. I mean, they weren't running out of oxygen, but they were just locked in, and it was almost.
I think they were kind of running out of oxygen. I think so. I think you're right.
I'm also thinking of another episode where she was running out of oxygen. This is what I'm saying. It's. We can't even like.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know.
Do you remember that episode? I'm honestly forgetting.
I mean, I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
No, but it was an episode where she was locked into like some glass container. You don't remember? They were. She was glass in this. Container. She was.
That sounds very.
She was
familiar.
locked and I remember when they kept advertising that episode. It was like her up on the glass and he's up on the glass and she's like gasping for air. She's like, oh, and you think she like dies, she like falls. I'm telling you, there was another episode.
Yeah, I 100% believe you.
I think they had the rest of the team locked up as well, but it was like a whole Felicity Oliver thing. I think it was maybe Hive. I think that was during the Hive season because that was when they left and then they came back and the relationship kind of deteriorated.
That sounds right. I believe you. I believe you. I was just I'm just pulling your chain. I believe you. I just can't. I don't remember. Like some of these episodes, I kind of delete Olicity from my brain. A lot of, I'm serious. I'm very serious. Like I'm playing devil's advocate to get an explanation.
No.
But I really am not a fan of Olicity. That's why we're doing.
No, I totally understand it. And like I said, go back to the earlier point. That was probably the weakest episode of the season, where they hadn't done this whole Olicity thing. We honestly thought they were over and done with, even though I'm sure that's what they're gonna always keep coming back to. But they hadn't really delved into that almost for the entire season. And then they want to throw us back into that, have them both of them together locked in their hideout, seemingly about to die. Like, oh, are we going to fall in love again? I always cared about you and blah, blah, blah. And then that episode happens, it ends. And that chemistry is no longer there. It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna get to why I think they paired them together, but in response to that, they ended the problem was they mishandled their relationship in season 4, where she's like, "Oh, you have a son, I can't do this anymore, I'm done." She's like, "All right, that was pretty stupid," and they ended kind of like in a weird space where she, at the beginning of season 5, we see her moved on. Oliver, seemingly he moved on during season 5 himself, but they never really got closure. So they tried to use that episode to sort of provide closure on one end, but also say, hey, we still care about each other. And they kissed in the season finale too. So they're pretty much out here waving the flag, saying, all right, they're going to be together. But for me, I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, why do they pair them together? You asked that question. Why pair them together? The reason that I'm seeing, the reasoning behind them pairing them together is that Oliver has a really dark side. Felicity, who has, gotten a little bit of an edge since working with Oliver, but at the same time, she brings light to him. She is someone who, with her jokes and her quips, which he never seems to laugh at anyway, so it's not even like, and as I'm explaining this, I'm also poking holes in it as well, but I think the notion is that he is this very dark character, and she is, his respite from this darkness, with her and her generally more beautiful outlook on life, so to speak, and her less hardcore. You don't have to do this on your own. I care about you. You're not alone in this world. Talk about your feelings type of way. So for them, Oliver kind of sees her as that she's the emotion. She's the character that provides the emotion on the show, according to me guessing. But I also feel like Diggle's the heart of Arrow. I 100% believe Diggle is the heart of Arrow, and anybody that believes otherwise can fight me. But I really do think he is the heart of Arrow, and there's a lot of people who I think would agree with me. But I think the idea is that Felicity provides some type of respite from Oliver's tortured soul. Now, the problem I have with this is that role has always been served by Black Canary. And that goes into the bigger problem in which they have completely mishandled the Black Canary character. And they basically threw it in the trash. And they introduced a Laurel who, and I like Kitty Cassidy, don't get me wrong. And I do know there's a lot of Black Canary fans out there. But no one can deny that Laurel had a lot of issues storyline-wise throughout Arrow. To the point where many people, and the large part of people, did not like Laurel Lance. And that's where the prominence of Felicity came through. Felicity was a way more likable female character. Laurel Lance was not. And the evolution of Laurel Lance into Black Canary, although did help the character somewhat, it never truly resonated with fans. Also because they introduced Sara Lance, who was a much better Black Canary from the outset. She had the badassery to her. She, had the fighting skills. She looked, pretty cool in the costume. She, for all intents and purposes, she was a great Black Canary. And then she and Oliver had a lot of on-screen chemistry. The problem was she didn't serve to balance out Oliver's character. She was darker than Oliver, which I don't necessarily think is a problem, because the thing is, in the comics, Green Arrow and Black Canary, they complement each other. Okay, Oliver is this rich, super, liberal dude who's always talking about what he believes in, and he described himself in current Rebirth comics as a social justice warrior. Black Canary, I'm not saying she's on the opposite side of the political spectrum. I don't even know what her political, affiliation is or anything like that. But she sometimes tries to ground him in the real world, because sometimes Ollie, in his, political beliefs, he's also this super rich dude who's kind of out of touch with, the everyman, even though he champions himself as the everyman. And he also has his belief sometimes he can fix things with money. And he's also a little bit of a jerk in terms of his level of arrogance. And Black Canary has always held him accountable and brought the balance to his life. And whenever Oliver has struggled through his personal problems, which he always does, because, Oliver Queen, his mouth tends to get him in trouble. He tends to mess up all the relationships that he's in. And I'm talking about in the comics, particularly him and Rory Harper. And he also, he's kind of lonely, being a superhero and, being rich. He sometimes, he's out of touch. And Black Canary, having a more, modest background in terms of her economic status, so to speak, she kind of brings him back to this level of normality. And this level of, I don't want to say normal, because, being rich isn't not normal, but I'm saying that she kind of grounds him, and kind of keeps him from, kind of losing himself in his own world. And with Arrow, they haven't really set up that problem for Oliver. Like, Oliver, he's definitely a dark character, but they never showed Laurel as a character who could pull him out of these dark moments. If anything, their relationship brought each other more pain. He hurt her really bad by cheating on her with her sister, and Laurel Lance, in trying to give her story, because they, let's be honest, did not know what to do with Laurel for a large part of Arrow. They ended up just giving her these whack storylines where she fell into these dark pits, and they never helped each other out of these dark spots. And I think that in failing to really find a place for Black Canary on their show, they turned to Olicity as the stopgap. And what it really does is just brings up their problem with Black Canary and just their mishandling of the character. And then they brought in Sara Lance for all intents and purposes, Sara Lance could have fixed that problem. But by that point, they were so heavily invested in Laurel, it was kind of like, well, we can't just get rid of one of these characters. Or we can't just get rid of the character we established as the Black Canary. Because, at the end of the day, they teased Laurel Lance being Black Canary. And her name is Dinah Lance. She is the name of the Black Canary character. So they introduced Sara Lance, and ultimately they were like, people love this Sara Lance, but we don't want her. She's not the Black Canary we had in mind. And then now they've got this new Black Canary who seems to be a lot better than all the Black Canaries in terms of, a lot of people hate her because they want Laurel Lance back. But, in terms of her badassery, her being a detective now, which I think is a great move for the character. Her actually having a sonic scream, a metahuman ability. I think they've made a Black Canary character that we can all like. Problem is, they're so heavily invested in Olicity now. And I think they realized that because if they knew that Felicity was 100% gold, they would be in a relationship now. They would already have put them together instead of dancing around. And I think ultimately they need to make a decision. Either they're going to be together or they're not. Okay? Because, listen, right now they've expressed their feelings for each other. Are they going to start a relationship in season 6? It seems to be that's not going to be the immediate thing. So it's like, what are you guys doing? Like this dance it's frustrating. It is tiresome. And quite frankly, I think a large part of people are losing interest in it. I think there are heavy Olicity fans, but I think that there are a lot of fans who enjoy Arrow, who came to Arrow to see this badass hero, and they're getting bogged down by these relationship issues that they haven't even entirely, made clear to us.
Yeah, I mean, they like we said, they continue either the reasons for them to being together are not clear, or they just continue to retread on old material over and over and over. And what it does is it no longer appears natural. And that's the thing. The relationship at this point seems just so fake. You know what I mean? Because normal human beings would not say the things that they say, would not react the way that they react, especially if they're smart and if they are as smart and as capable as they are in the show. It really does seem like fluffing, like they're just trying to fill up space and time with dialogue and just things.
So how do they fix this?
How do they fix this?
That's a big problem.
Now,
Felicity's gonna stick around. She's the main character. She's not gonna be eliminated. Let's be honest. She's original Team Arrow. She's staying on the show. If they kill her, people are gonna riot.
Now you're asking me fix this as in how to actually have them together in a way that's interesting, or just what can we do in general without killing them, obviously.
What can we do in accordance with what we would like to see? Because, this is all about our opinion. Like I said, there are a lot of Olicity fans, and some people are going to, argue for or against whatever we say here. But at the end of the day, there is a problem with our Olicity, whether you like the couple or not. You all know it. You know there's a problem with the way it's been portrayed. So how do we fix it? If you're going to make them be together, how do you fix it? If you're going to separate them, how do you fix it?
This is what first came to mind, and this is... Hear me out.
I'm hearing you out, man. You're the man with the plan. I feel like me. I'm like a surgeon. You know what I'm saying? Well, I shouldn't say I'm a surgeon. I'm like the dude who reads the X-rays, looks at the MRIs, looks at the problem. Right? You're the surgeon, man. You go in there. I just pass you the scalpel, and you start cutting people. All right.
I'm about to cut deep. Some people might get a little mad, but
hey, your name is DeepBoyce, man. Goes with the I guess that's part of your mantra.
But here's the thing about CW, since it's PG-13, it's obvious that people are hooking up. I mean, they're relatively young, good-looking people. They're attracted to each other. So, in my mind, to add some sort of reality to this situation, Felicity ends up pregnant. She ends up pregnant, right?
All right, you said hear you out. Okay, I'm hearing you out.
Ends up pregnant. They're not really together, but obviously, come on. It wouldn't be surprising if they happen to hook up again and she ends up pregnant with his child, right?
Oh, I thought you were talking about some Days of Our Lives type storyline.
With Oliver's child, my bad. With Oliver's child.
Okay. Okay.
But as mature adults, they decide to see this through, but they realize like this is just not good for us. It hasn't been, and this is not going to be good for this kid. So they try their best to raise this child to be, parents, but they're not. They put the whole relationship past them, and I think eventually you should introduce a new character that could be, that father, or rather not that father, but that boyfriend, husband, future husband, whatever it is the show ultimately ends in, for Felicity. And then you'll have another, I guess, female character that, whether it's a new character or an existing character, to be the second half or the other side of Oliver's relationship. So ultimately at the end of the show, there's history between the two of them. They have a child together because that's what happens in the real world. Sometimes there's no way these people are they're hooking up.
Sometimes you impregnate people.
It happens. These people, they hook up way too many times. They're indecisive, and they're they live.
Sometimes you have kids with people you didn't intend to have.
It happens, and they live dangerous lives. And sometimes, when you go to war, that's kind of what ends up happening. You have someone that you're in a relationship with, and things happen because you don't know if you're promised tomorrow. So you do it with reckless abandon. And hey.
So your compromise is to give them a means to have their relationship be manifested in the form of a child, but then ultimately that they decide to part ways for, whatever reason. But they are always inevitably tied together
because they have history. And listen, in terms of writing a show, having a baby is way better than having a young child who has to act and give out dialogue and lines. Like, look at Diggle's child. The storyline for that baby has been super interesting. More interesting than any other child in any of these shows. And that kid has never said a word.
Going from Sara Diggle to being affected by Flashpoint being John Diggle, that is pretty funny. But I don't know if that's a solution, man, because listen, the Olicity fans out there, the people who love Olicity, the rabid fans, they're going to be upset if these two have a kid and don't end up together. Because Olicity fans, they're going to have that approach where it's like, oh, they got a kid together. It would have been perfect if they ended together. They got married and lived in a big house.
Here's the thing, Hazy. They've gotten it. They've gotten it. They've gotten, what is it, 5-6 seasons? They've gotten 5-6 seasons of Olicity here and there. I think we need to try and not appeal to the most obvious choice, which is they end up together. Let's appeal a little bit more to realism, where it's rocky, it's past its course. They were married already. They did that already, and they were engaged, but they did the whole living thing together, and then they both realized it's not gonna work out. I'm just. Because I feel like we need to do something different, something new that this relationship hasn't done already. And what this relationship has not done already is mature. They need to mature, and they need to make reasonable decisions, adult decisions with their lives. And if you throw a kid in there and, she has a new boyfriend and he has a new girlfriend, and that allows more moves, more pieces to play in this chessboard, and allows for more possible storylines. Obviously, he already has a kid, but hey, that could be. That's just a part of Oliver Queen. He's been like this.
He just goes out there and he makes babies.
Yes.
Well, he does. Oliver Queen is the billionaire. I've described Oliver Queen in the past as a less intelligent Tony Stark. He's out there and he's this playboy, this billionaire. He's got mad money, but he ultimately lives kind of like a lonely life as a hero, because he deals with his own inner demons. But I don't. That's an interesting solution. I don't necessarily think that's it. I just think I'm gonna keep it a buck 50. I just think they need to organically show that they try and it doesn't work, not for any silly reason like you have a child and you hid them from me, even though the girl threatened to not have the child here with you if you didn't tell, if you told anybody about it. It was just a dumb idea. And the notion that he didn't even tell her, I would have been like, yo, Felicity, let me talk to you real quick. So I got a son with this person. I just found out about her. she's telling me I can't spend time with the kid if I tell anybody about, the kid's existence. So I need you to keep this a secret for now until I figure this out, because I really do want to be a part of this kid's life. And that's a complication, but if you love the man, you'll find a way. So my notion is to give them a shot. Give them a shot, let them be together. And if you can genuinely make it compelling, keep it together. I don't think they can, because they haven't, and I think it's due in part to the fact that these characters are incompatible. I think they are incompatible. I don't think the way they're written that they need to be together, and I think they need to realize that ultimately they'd rather see each other happy. That's a mature way to move on in life, because this happens in life. Sometimes you're with someone, you lust after them, you love them, and you don't end up with them. Yeah. Okay, and maybe show that, hey, maybe these two aren't entirely perfect for each other. I don't know. And also this, listen, I know people like, they don't necessarily want, Oliver to necessarily end up with a Black Canary, but I don't know. I like this Black Canary. I like the way they started off with her. I think she's interesting. I like the fact that she's going down a dark path and she's seen redemption. And you know what? That mirrors Oliver's storyline a lot better than Felicity does. So I would rather them grow apart in terms of, that physical love, and more towards kind of like a, I love you as someone very important to me. The same, in a way that a platonic love. We've had this history. They did that with Laurel Lance. They never gave closure to that Laurel Lance relationship. I don't care what anybody says. They never closed that relationship. All of a sudden, at the end of season 2, Deathstroke kidnaps, the woman he loves, and Oliver's like, yo, that's not really the woman I love. It's Felicity. Out of nowhere, mind you. That blindsided me 100%. And then, that kind of like ended the Laurel thing. Meanwhile, this guy, they even allude to in the flashbacks, this guy, like, Laurel was the love of his life. And for some reason, they didn't end up together. I honestly think they should just give Olicity a shot and break them up organically. Break them up organically. Let them try it out and let them realize, hey, maybe this isn't working. Maybe this physical attraction is we care about each other, but sometimes caring about someone doesn't always mean they're going to be together.
True.
I don't know. This alternate reality check is not one of the solutions because ultimately they've muddied things up to a great extent. Sara Lance is over on Legends. I don't even think there's an opportunity for that to come back together. Even if I thought it made sense from a narrative perspective. But this new Dinah, I like her. I wouldn't mind if Oliver ended up with her, or as you said, some new love interest. Maybe it would probably be better if Felicity got a new love interest and Ollie was forced to move on. Because, Ollie tends to, he's out here playing games with people's hearts with his actions. It might be a little bit better for him to be, a little bit mopey and be comforted by someone else. And, I don't know. How they would break them up, I have no idea. I have no earthly idea how they would break those two up. But, maybe it's a situation where, he, I don't know, maybe he sees something in her that he's just like, hey, this really isn't the person I want to be. Or maybe she sees that he now has to take care of her son, let's say, and she really isn't about that.
Yeah.
That's a completely normal feeling too, where, you don't want to necessarily take care of someone else's son. Now, people would probably hate that because they'd be like, oh, Felicity's heartless for not wanting to take care of her child. But hey, I don't know. But please, I don't know what to do, guys. What do you guys think we should do about this Olicity problem? Me and DeepBoyce have laid out the problem. We've given our alternate options. We've given you the reality. We've given you our alternate options. Now it's time for you to check us. You guys got to let us know what you think of our theories. Let us know if you agree or disagree. And let us know if you have any ideas about what they should do with Olicity. But please, by all means, we need you guys to let us know how to fix this because it's driving us crazy. I can't watch the back and forth with them anymore. I can't do it. But anyway, guys, thank you for tuning into this alternate reality check and the spectacular spoiler league. DeepBoyce and I are getting out a hole of spoilers. Be sure to turn on notifications on this video so that you can be up to date on everything that comes off in the spectacular spoiler league. I'm talking about videos. I'm talking about live streams. And we got some live stream plans in the works. So we're going to do some live streams, not just for video games, but for other things as well, so keep that in mind. And, like or subscribe the video and subscribe to the Spectacular Spoiler YouTube channel, because I mean, what if you listen to us just ramble about how we hate Olicity? Let's be honest, you already like us. So yeah, you might as well just join up with Spectacular Spoiler League and let's make this let's seal this thing in blood. Anyway, guys, we're getting out of here. I'll see you guys on the next one. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bong bong.